right. Hey, good morning. It is July 26th. It's the Rise and Grind Morning Show. It's 8:06 a.m. Sorry about the short delay. We wanted to bring somebody else in this morning to get things rolling. Of course, we got Dan Campbell's press conference live right now. I think we're going to try to bring that in first. We're going to go ahead and skip the intro, so we're not going to be back in 90 seconds. We're going to get it kicked off right now. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Eric. Let's bring this in. And good morning, Chef. So we got Chef joining us this morning. We're going to get wrapped up here on the first couple of days of training camp. Let's see what Dan Campbell has to say right now.
And it's something that Brad and I are talking about right now, but we're not in a hurry either. We find the right guy that helps us for competition, then for camp, then we'll do that.
There used to be a thinking back in the day that kickers needed to give you everything inside of 45 or everything inside of 40 and be almost automatic from there, and then the long stuff was, icing on the cake.
Defense, are we going to have it? We find the right guy that helps us for competition, then for camp, then we'll do that.
There used to be a thinking back in the day that kickers needed to give you everything inside of 45 or everything inside of 40 and be almost automatic from there, and then the long stuff was, icing on the cake. Is there still that belief among coaches that there's a certain distance that you really got to nail that high percentage before you even worry about the long stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think really.
So right away this morning, they're obviously talking about the Jake Bates and the Michael Badgley competition, which is going to be another fierce competition, part of the bloodbath of 2024 that the Detroit Lions are involved in this season. We've got a lot of competition in this locker room. So talking about Michael Badgley and Jake Bates this morning, we'll touch on that. But I would agree, that's Dan Miller there asking the question. At least we could hear the question this morning. But I would agree that, yeah, you've got to have a number, right? I think you guys would agree, too, that you have to feel comfortable, probably from 50 and under. I mean, that should be automatic in this league by now. 50 and under. Look, if you're in Buffalo and you've got swirling winds, or, Pittsburgh and you've got some, crazy ice and snowstorm or something, yeah, things are going to happen. But if it's a nice sunny day and it's calm, I think you've got to have faith in the kicker from 50 and in. What would you guys say? We'll go top down. So we'll go Eric, then Chef.
Yeah. Jake Bates went 6 for 6 at training camp yesterday, and he had leg to spare. The reporters that were reporting on it were on the side, so they couldn't see if he was actually making them or not, but he did officially go 6 for 6 on all 6 of his kicks. And they started, I think, from the 35 and they went out to the 53, and he hit everything. I didn't hear how Badgley did, but I did hear how Bates did. And Dan Miller said when the ball came off of his foot, there was something special about it. The way he kicks the ball and the way the ball leaves his foot, that Bates just has the it factor. There's something special about him.
Yeah, we've seen that. Ever since Jake Bates took the field for Michigan Panther, game 1, week 1 this year, booting a 62-yarder, I think it was 62 or 64 to start the season. According to the chat here, Rick, I have not confirmed this. Maybe if one of you guys can confirm it here, Michael Badgley has been placed on IR. So, what did Badgley, get his feelings hurt yesterday? Decide to go back to the hotel and I don't feel good. Maybe my hamstring hurts or something. I don't know. Rob Brown, I'm not sure what you're talking about on volume. I think everyone can hear us just fine. Make sure your volume is turned up all the way. We should be good here. We should have everything rocking and rolling this morning. So, Chef, what do you think about the Badgley and Bates competition here? And as far as now, if Badgley is on IR, that's interesting development.
I think it's funny that you mentioned the hotel, because I'll call it the motel. He went to the Bates Motel, got a little bit of that action going on, and that's why he's on IR. Listen, I don't think that it's Badgley's job to lose. I think it's Bates' job to lose. We all know the issues that we had with kicking. 48 yards in San Francisco last season outside, Badgley wasn't great in those conditions. So I believe they're going to give Bates every chance in the world to be able to win this job. And especially with now Badgley on IR, he's not even there to fend for himself. So I don't see any way that Bates doesn't get this job unless it's just a complete meltdown.
Yeah, you guys just let me know you can hear Chef okay. Obviously, the first time we've had the triple scene going, we literally started putting it together at 7:35 this morning, so should be good. I did get a message for a few mailbag questions for today. We'll get into that here in a little bit too, but let's continue on with Dan Campbell. And I would agree, this is Bates' job to lose. I don't think that he has to win out over Badgley, and I would agree with the meltdown situation. Like, if Bates completely melts down, yeah, I mean that would be the nerves getting to him, and that certainly could happen. I'm not expecting it though.
Really,
Hey, Will, I just looked.
look
The only person on any IR, pup list, anything is DJ Reader.
Yeah, this was a tweet. I'm gonna try to pull it up too, but we'll listen to Dan Campbell right now.
at the numbers. You want to know, you want to know that percentage is very high. And where is that at? That could be you got to get inside the 40. It could be you got to get inside the 35, and then until that
here we
point,
go.
don't ask them to do it until you.
Pride of Detroit, Dan Campbell says Michael Badgley has a significant injury and is going on IR. His season is over. Jake Bates is now your kicker. Congratulations, Jake Bates. But at the expense of Michael Badgley, I'm wondering what has happened. But according to Pride of Detroit, surgery is incoming for Michael Badgley. So, interesting development. Hey, Jake Bates didn't have to win the job. He just had to show up. I mean, again, this is at the expense of Michael Badgley. We hate to see it when people get hurt, any Detroit Lion, when they get hurt. Not good news, but hey, it's going to be Bates' opportunity to prove why the Detroit Lions are constantly evolving. That's why, when I did this intro, outro video, evolution, there's a reason why I use that word. This team has been evolving since day one. And it's the evolution of the Detroit Lions that is going to rise above the rest this season. They're not just playing with fortitude anymore. I mean, they're playing with a whole different set of cards than everybody else. So it's fun to watch. Now comments on Bates being your kicker, Eric.
Well, what the heck would have happened to Badgley in practice that he needs surgery? Was he out on special teams and got tackled or something?
I don't know.
Tore a quad or something trying to kick really hard? Yeah. Just a slight echo on my audio, everybody's saying.
I'm not hearing any echo right now. I think that was because you had the stream playing on another device that kind of came in.
Yeah.
Dan Miller also just put this out 14 minutes ago that Michael Badgley is out for the season with a significant injury suffered yesterday. Here, let me just throw this up there so you guys know I'm not full of crap.
Yeah, he must have been trying to kick super hard or something.
I don't know. But here you go, Dan Miller. Michael Badgley out for the season. Brad Golly, Michael Badgley out for the season. Suffered injury on Thursday. We'll wind this back to Pride of Detroit. Dan Campbell says Michael Badgley has a significant injury on IR for the season. So,
wow,
that is your major news update for this morning. We'll try to see what we can find out later on today and pump out a video. I'm assuming we're going to hear the rest of it here with Dan Campbell. Let's see what he has to say.
Have to. You absolutely have to. So now, that being said, if you told me, hey, man, we're at the 40 and this guy is golden, we're talking about a very high percentage, well above the average, then that's a great thing to have, right? Everybody wants the leg with accuracy. But what you find out is that's not always the case. Once you start getting into the high 40s, it just is not, the percentages go down significantly than it does the mid and low 40s.
How much does that change your thought process for your aggressiveness as far as there's a lot of calculus involved. Just, go for it, or if this dude's good from, he's automatic from 50 or whatever. Comes to
Finally,
your
audio. My
aggressiveness
goodness.
Well,
About
I
time.
think it's honestly, I view it no different than I do any other position or any other part of this team, offense, defense, special. Man, let's ask our guys to do what they do well and put them in position to have success. And the kicker is no different. So that's how I view it. You know, some of that does come down to, you know, you're at the 40-yard line and you know, you got a 58-yard kick, and you've gauged him. You've seen how he's kicked. You also know it's a long one, or it's 4th and 2. You know, you want your offense to go. Do we like the play? Do we like the matchup? What are they running on defense? You know, are we going to have a chance to get the one-on-one that we want offensively? And so I think all that comes into play.
I'm glad that he just mentioned it's 4th and 2. You know, do we like the play? Do we like the offense? You know, going back out there on the field. Look, I'm going to tell you guys with 1,000% confidence here. Dan Campbell is not changing what he's doing. He is not changing one thing. Now, I think where he will change, end of second half, end of fourth quarter situations. I think that we'll see a slight change there. Only because of what just happened in the NFC Championship game. He's probably gone back. He's admitted he's gone back and watched it hundreds of times, right? And more than what they've watched with the team. And that he's learned some things. Now, he doesn't specifically said which games he's learned some things from, but I think that, you know, the writing's, you know, on the wall here. He's going to probably opt to kick for a field goal, depending on, you know, where we are score-wise, what the conditions of the game are. The level of the injury report and where people stand. I think that he's going to opt to kick for the field goal a couple more times than he did last season. I'm not thinking that he's going to change everything radically just because he has, you know, Jake Bates as a kicker. You still have to have the mentality that you want to win the game. You want to put the game out of reach. Sometimes field goals don't do that. But if you're up 12 and you can kick a field goal and go up 2 scores, and you're making the opponent have to get at least 1 2-point conversion to tie the ball game, that's where I think Dan Campbell's going to kick the field goal. If you're up, 7, you know, and it's, you know, a close game, and you can take the field goal and go up 2 scores where a 2-point conversion doesn't help you. You know, if you're up, 6 or 7, right, or 8, you're going to opt to kick the field goal if it's a makeable, you know, field goal. If it's something he feels confident in, you know, that 50-yard line or 50-yard mark, he's probably going to do it. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think that we're going to have any sort of change in Dan Campbell radically, or do you feel like it's 4th down Dan Campbell, you know, still here in 2024, you know, but certain situations are probably going to call for maybe a different attitude, different mindset? What do you think, Eric?
I don't think Dan's going to change at all. He is who he is. He trusts his offense. But like you said, in the fourth quarter, when it's 4th and 2 from the 40 and there's 3 seconds to go, instead of going for a Hail Mary, he is going to try for that kick because he knows he has a kicker that can hit it from 58 yards. That's exactly what he's going to do. If it comes down to a kick like the Ravens had against us a couple of years ago, where it's for a record-setting 63-yarder at Ford Field, well, it's going to happen again because Jake Bates will hit it. This kid's got a leg like you wouldn't believe.
What do you think, Chef?
Yeah, I think that during the drive, there may be some differences. I think there were some gotta have it type plays that they had because of the ineptitude. I guess that's the best word I can think of when we talk about the kicking situation. But maybe it's not a gotta have it play. You know, maybe it's a 3rd and 9 and you're comfortable. Like, okay, if we don't get this 3rd and 9, if we don't force it down the field to get that 9 yards, if we do throw it short to Amon-Ra St. Brown and he comes up, let's say 4 yards short, because I'm not going to say 2 yards. If it's 2 yards short, he's gonna go for it. But again, if it's 30 seconds left in the half, you know, he's probably going to kick it. So I just think the way that they get to the kicking situation would be possibly a little bit different as far as how they call the drive.
Yeah, I would agree with all that. I mean, I think at the end of the day, if it's 4th and 2 and, you know, it's a tie ball game or no one's scored yet, you know, maybe you're up a dozen or 10, well, maybe a field goal doesn't make sense. I mean, who's to say that you're not going to trust, Montgomery and Penei Sewell and another pulling guard, like maybe Manu gets back in there somehow. Maybe he gets in as a pulling guard, or even Skipper, pulling and punching through, or even Glasgow. I mean, he was pulling a lot last year. So I have full confidence in this offensive line that 2 yards is nothing for this team. Nothing. If this offensive line stays healthy, there is no reason to kick a field goal, situational depending, right? Like, if you're on the 50-yard line, you're obviously going to go for it or you're going to punt it. If you're on the 40-yard line, I think that's where things can change, because if you go down and score, well, you could end up giving them the ball back at the 35 or the 40 just on the ensuing kickoff, right? So, well, I mean, what's stopping you from at least taking a shot at it? And how much are you going to trust your defense? I think that's the biggest key that we haven't spoken to yet. If this defense is playing at a very high clip, I think that is where Dan Campbell is going to trust his offense more. Would you guys agree with that? Like, I think the defense 1,000% dictates what your offense does. If you know that, yep, we can trust Terry and Arnold to go in and break up a pass. We can trust, DJ Reader and, Aleem McNeil to get enough pressure up the middle that, allows Aiden to maybe, create some havoc on the outside, or Marcus Davenport's healthy and, we can put James Houston in as an optional backer and rush one end and keep Aiden home. There are so many opportunities now with this defense that we didn't have last year. So what do you think about defense dictating the offense this season? Eric, go for it.
Yeah, we have to trust our defense one of these days. Someday it's going to be good enough that we can trust it. Maybe our defense is better than our offense one of these days. I don't think they're quite there this year, but it's trending in that direction where we're going to have a defense that is more than just serviceable. And that's all we were last year, is just barely serviceable. 27th against the pass. We get to top 15 with that, and you're going to see a transformation in how Dan Campbell does things. It has to.
Chef?
Well, actually, if you guys remember last season, he trusted the defense anyway, and it was kind of inexplicable to some of us, especially in that Seattle game. We didn't understand why he was trusting the defense. But now he has an actual reason to trust the defense. We hope. Terrion Arnold has taken a few lumps out there, but he's a rookie, so we expect that to happen, and especially if it's JMO. JMO's going to burn anybody. But trusting the defense is going to take on a new meaning this season, because this is what we expect. We expect him to be able to do it. So now, a lot of us may not have believed him last season when he said he trusts his defense, but I think this season we will believe it. And especially, and I've been saying this, with the new kickoff rule, we are going to be in situations. You don't want Jake Bates going out there kicking 70-yard field goals routinely. But we've got a kicker who can kick outside a 70-yard field goal. Can he do it in a game? That remains to be seen. And also the good thing about his rookie season in the NFL is that we only have 3 outdoor games. So I think he's going to be trusted and called upon a lot to be able to do certain things, and we'll be in situations that we were not in last season for sure.
I would agree with that, man. I think that this is going to be a totally different Detroit Lions team that we've seen in a long time. Being able to actually, there's saying that you trust your defense is one thing, but actually really trusting your defense, we'll be able to see that by what's being called on the field. Well, especially on the offensive side of the ball. It's going to be kind of difficult only because, fourth down Dan has been going for it. The most fourth down calls of any team in the NFL. So it's kind of hard to gauge, well, did he go for it more? Did he go for it less? Where is he going for it? the situation depending, what's he going to call for? That'll make it difficult to gauge whether he's changed or really trusted his defense. But I think truly this season, you're going to see a big difference in what this defense is going to be able to get us. Real quick here in the chat, I'm seeing a couple comments here that maybe some people are having issues with volume. So when we test volume, I test at 95%, which means like my phone is up 95% or more, and you should be able to hear everybody perfectly. And I do that for a reason, because if your volume happens to be all the way up, and that way, our voices don't get extremely loud. You know what I mean? Like, how TVs can do that? You're watching a show, and then all of a sudden it goes really loud, and then it comes back down. We don't want that to happen to you. So just double check, make sure, that your that your volume is all the way up. The other thing I'll point out too is liking the stream. So we got about 50 people in, 17 likes. You guys are getting no ads this morning. We are paying for all of your ads. We don't run any ads during a 2-hour live show, which could be 3 hours here pretty soon. All we ask, like the stream. Hey, share it if you can. Get it out to your social media. Get it out to your Lions fans and friends and family. But at least just like the stream. That helps us get in front of more fans this morning that want to watch Lions content. And, hey, it's Friday, man. Everyone's ready to talk football over the weekend. So help us by liking the stream. That's all that we ask, and we'll continue to pay for your ads. Let's get up to 50 likes this morning before we get off today. Let's listen to some more Dan Campbell, and then I think let's just roll into into the show today.
But it can have an effect.
I'm going to fast forward just a little bit.
Still, that you can get 4 more. Otherwise, if it doesn't work out, that's on me. It's not fair to go 65 plays and not give them help every once in a while to give them a breather. So, anyway.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to get into dominate the kicking thing. Just with Nate, not.
They're still talking about kicking.
Okay, careful. It's
seen so far from Terry and
him through practice.
I want to hear what they said about Terrion, and then we'll
hold on
switch.
a minute. Go ahead.
What have you seen so far from Terry and Arnold and Rakestraw? And I know it's early, but can you see them fitting in?
Yeah, well, I would tell you, and there again, when I say this, okay, careful. It's I see improvement from the spring, which is great. That means they retained what we were doing in the spring, and here we are 2 days into training camp, and man, some of those lessons they've learned, and it's already showing up. This is their second chance to get through the install. They got it in the spring, and now here we go. And so, man, they retained some of those coaching points and improved on them. And so I like both of those guys. I love the fact that Arnold would get up there and challenge, big, physical, pretty smart guy. Just, time on task. He's got to learn. And Rakestraw's the same way. Rakestraw's pretty instinctive. He got our one takeaway yesterday, got a ball on the ground, which was great. So look, those guys are a work in progress, but after 2 days and a spring, we like where they're at.
What is the biggest change you've noticed in Hendon since the spring?
Yeah, he's another guy, I would say, coming back, you wanted to feel like he retained what we did, and there was just you felt like he just took one little step forward, and all right, we're not back to, here's the read, you should have thrown this here, should have checked it down, should have launched the post, and man, he's done some things that are good, that are really good. It's like, okay, you feel just a little bit of growth, which is what we wanted to feel. So taking command of the huddle and some of his decision-making has been good. The accuracy's been better after 2 days. Now, he's like anybody else. He's got things to clean up. But, yeah, we are certainly not disappointed after 2 days.
Having Nate on the roster just give you a little bit more confidence that you don't have to push it with Hendon. You can let that kind of organically develop the way it should.
Yeah, and look, that's a competition. It is, and we like both of those guys, but there is a reason Nate's here. Nate has played before. He's got a lot of experience, and Dan's
got a burp.
That's what he's got. He's got more years and a little bit more experience certainly than Hooker does. But this is a competition. I mean, at the end of the day, both of those guys are going to roll between the 2s and 3s. And by the time we get to end of camp, we need to know who our 2 is. And we're not going to have our 2 be somebody we don't trust in the moment.
Do you notice a little bit of a different swag in the defensive backfield? It just seems like you can feel it out there.
A little bit.
The way they're talking and kind of carry themselves, especially maybe with Davis also.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that. There is, but we've injected a lot more personalities and ability into that room. I mean, it's been really a total transformation, if you will. Obviously getting Carlton and Amik, and then Rake and Arnold. So there's and then we got E-Man back. So yeah, there is certainly another level of confidence in that room that I feel like those guys are feeding off each other.
All right. Let's get into it today, fellas. Let me get this transition going. So, I mean, obviously, there's a lot to talk about here. There's a ton to talk about. The fact that, we're talking about Rakestraw right now. And Emmanuel Mosley is another guy that I wanted to touch on today, too. Rakestraw's nickname to me, he's going to be the Rake. Like, flat out, that's going to be his nickname, the Rake. The guy can play. Like, he's pretty solid. Now, he's going to have some hurdles to jump. But imagine for just 1 second here that, and I said this kind of the other day, that Emmanuel Mosley is probably your 6th best corner on this team right now. Depending on where Brian Branch ends up. And yes, I did toot my horn on Twitter because I said back in February Branch was going to be playing safety this year, and that's exactly what's going on right now. But that doesn't mean that he won't play nickel too. He'll probably play both. They're trying to keep him on the field for at least 3 downs. But anyway, think about this. Emmanuel Mosley right now is probably your 6th corner. Rakestraw, until proven otherwise, is probably 5th. Amik Robertson, 4th. Terrion Arnold, Carlton Davis, 1-2. Who would be 3rd? Or am I missing somebody here? I think we got to bump everybody up a slot. Terrion Davis, 1-2. Amik, 3. Emmanuel Mosley, 5. Well, I guess you could slide Brian Branch in there, because if he's playing nickel, he's really your number 2-3. The point that I'm trying to make is we are so deep. Extremely deep. And if Emmanuel Mosley actually makes it out of training camp healthy and is able to put some quality snaps on the field during preseason, this might be the best defensive backfield in the entire NFL. And I'm calling it right now. If every single one of these guys stays healthy, and if Brian Branch completely flies around the field as a safety in 2024 and is able to beat out Kirby Joseph and play alongside Ifeatu Melifonwu, I don't see anyone having a whole lot of success. Eric, what do you think right away when you think of how deep this DB room is? Now, last year, we had paper tiger syndrome again. We had an amazing cast of defensive backs on this team, and it turned out to be absolute dog crap. Partly because of injury, but, I mean, Cam Sutton couldn't stop a bloody nose. And everybody else behind him, I mean, look, they were a product of what was going on everywhere else on the field, too. So, you break that first link in the chain. You hear my analogy often. Once that chain link is broken, man, the rest of them just fall apart. So, what do you think about this defensive backfield heading into camp, and now a few days into camp, and what we're hearing? I mean, I don't care that JMO got 1 lucky ball. I mean, that's going to happen. Some of that stuff's for show too. You got to remember that. Don't let me forget to talk about the show piece here. But yeah, what do you think, Eric? You're muted. You guys can unmute yourself. You don't have to stay muted, but you're muted, Eric. Now you have no audio. What did you do? Hold on a second, buddy. What happened here? I don't know how you just lost audio. Everything's on my side. Try now. Nothing. You sure you didn't change anything when people were telling you were too soft? Well, that doesn't make any sense now, does it? Let me get into the other screen here. Try now. I mean, this screen definitely should work. So you had to have turned something off. Chef, do we got audio from you?
Hopefully.
Yep, we do.
Can you hear me?
Yep, so we'll go with you.
right.
We'll go with you to start. What do you think about the defensive backfield? Eric, check your settings, please.
So the thing that I wanted to touch on is we're talking about having Brian Branch on the field for 3 downs. So when you go back to what Kyle Shanahan said, he said we wanted to keep them in sets which would not allow him to get on the field, which would limit him and his ability to get on the field. So now when we have him at safety and he has the ability to roll into the nickel, teams can't do that anymore. So we are dictating to our opponent what we want to do to them instead of the other way around. Now, as far as Emmanuel Mosley, he's been working a lot in the nickel, and he said he did some of that in he said it's actually how he made the team in San Francisco was he went in and started playing in the nickel, and then they moved him outside and he was able to do well with that. So now this is kind of an what would you say, an unexpected, well, at least from our side, it's kind of an unexpected wrinkle, because we thought that Amik Robertson was going to come in and immediately challenge for the nickel. But now you've got someone else who we weren't able to understand if he was going to be fully healthy or not. But if he is fully healthy and he's able to go into the season week 1 playing meaningful snaps, I think that does offer us just another layer to this secondary, which we weren't expecting to have. I think you talked before about a cornerback, a DB rotation, not because of fatigue and not because of injury, but something like how they do with the defensive line, where you're putting different guys in to give them different looks. I think that's something that we'll be able to do as long as everyone is able to stay healthy throughout the season with the DBs that we have.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about a rotation here, just like your defensive line, and we'll try to get Eric back in here in just a little bit. Let me try to adjust something on my end row here. This triple scene. Let me just make sure that it is on. Yeah, it's all good.
Hey, everybody, I'm Eric Rentamaki.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to adjust that right away. So as far as the DB rotation, I mean, if you could think about, the fact that Brian Branch was probably one of the best top 5, maybe nickels last year in the NFL, I think you could comfortably put him as a top 5. Be that as it may, if he's now back at safety on first and second down, and you've got the offense into a 3rd and 7, obvious passing down, right? For most teams, I think we'd probably run the damn ball, to be honest with you. So it's 3rd and 7, the obvious passing down. Now Brian Branch comes flying down into the nickel. And now you have Kirby and Ifeatu Melifonwu back there at safety. Or maybe you go into a single high safety zone look, but you still play man to man on the outside. That is a very tough defense to crack, because now you can shade. You could be sneaky all over the place. You can bring guys up on the line and drop them back into coverage. You could drop them back into coverage, and next thing you know, BB or Terry and Arnold's flying up off the corner and sacking the quarterback on 3rd and 7. It's going to be so exciting to see what AG and Terrell Williams, are able to do, Deshea Townsend, what all these guys and these phenomenal football minds are going to be able to do with a defense, they quite honestly maybe we haven't seen from any NFL team in a long time. Versatility at every position. Brad Holmes is the positional villain for a reason. What he's assembling here is not just a team. I mean, it's insane to me how much versatility is on this team. Being able to slide, Mekhi Wingo outside and then inside on the next play. You don't know where he's coming from. Same thing with James Houston. Dropping him back, as an outside linebacker. Then you have Marcus Davenport in front of him. And the next thing you know, they could switch. And Houston's up on the line. And Davenport rolls to the other side of the line. And now you got Marcus Davenport and Aiden Hutchinson lined up next to each other. With Aleem and DJ Reader in the middle. I mean, insane opportunities here. That's what I would be doing. The type of crazy schemes that I would come up with would be never ending. Whether they're functional or not is a different question and answer altogether. But I would at least try. Speak to versatility, man. I mean, what gets you so excited about this versatility?
Imagine, if you will, and this is where the excitement comes from. Imagine, if you will, an overload blitz on the left side with Hutch, Houston, and Iffy, or Hutch, Houston, and Brian Branch. Who are you blocking? It's just things like that. And when I went back and I watched the tape on the Rams game, and I saw that they sent Cam Sutton on a blitz. Cam Sutton went in untouched directly at the snap of the ball and was still too slow to get to Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford was able to hit the open receiver. I don't think we're going to have those type of things going on with the personnel that we have. So it's just the versatility and the fact that we're not able to look at last season and say, if everyone is healthy, we are going to be dealing with some of the same things. I mean, in our minds, we're just like Aleem McNeil. This looks like destruction to us.
Yeah.
That's it.
Absolutely. Eric, you got audio back?
I should.
There we go. See,
Yes.
man. You and your damn G-men over there.
Oh, where's he at?
No, leave him alone. I don't even want to see him. No, don't even want to see it.
Throwing away. That's it.
That's you guys got issues, man.
I'm telling you.
All right, so let me go into the chat here. We've been kind of leaving him alone a little bit this morning. I apologize. So, Brent DeWitt says, "Oh, you guys are going after Broski. Must be starting shit this morning."
No, he's not even in there.
I see his name mentioned. All right, so Roger
I
Chapman
thought I
says,
saw him earlier.
yeah, Roger Chapman says, and then you throw bets out there to continue the defensive line mix. Absolutely. Brent Lighton says Levi wants to F up some old linemen so bad, and I hope that he takes his shot. Brent Lighton followed that up with Betts would have to take Kaminsky's job. I mean, there's a possibility that both of them stick around. Again, I think that we're going to end up with a situation here that it's going to be extremely tough to cut between 40 and 53. Extremely tough. Where it just got easier is now Badgley is gone, right? I mean, we knew we were only going to keep one kicker, but Badgley's done for the season. So that helped. I mean, your three spots there, your punter, your kicker, your long snapper, I mean, those are done. Your two quarterbacks, that's done. So 5 guys are already set. You know, your main starters are already set. I think that between 40 and 53 is where it's going to be the most difficult cuts on this team is going to start with the defensive backfield, the defensive line, and your linebackers and your edge rushers. I think the defense is going to be the hardest to cut this year. I think the offense is pretty solid. Maybe the wide receiver room, whether you're going 5 or 6, probably going to be 5 wide receivers this year. Just like it was last year. I mean, I think they started with 6 because he had Jameson on the inactive list due to the gambling situation. But I think this year there was a real possibility of keeping 6 wide receivers. If 2 guys really step up this year, they only need 5. And hopefully you can park somebody, you know, on the practice squad. But I think the defensive side of the ball is going to be extremely difficult to cut this year. Let me get back to the roster here. You're going to disappear for a second because I can't remember what's on the roster. All right, so Lions news and rumors. Well, I mean, the biggest news of the day today is Badgley is done for the season. More than likely, he's on IR. Surgery is incoming, according to multiple sources. Dan Miller, Tim Twentyman, and others. Pride of Detroit, Jeremy Reisman, all reporting that this morning around 8:15 a.m. So let's talk about winners and losers of day 1 and 2, and then we'll get into some camp battles that are heating up. Get your tickets. We're going to be giving away some training camp tickets this morning at the 9 o'clock hour. So make sure you guys stick around between 9 and 9:15. We're going to be doing some ticket giveaways. So make sure you stick around because if you're not here, you're going to lose out on your opportunity at training camp. It's all sold out, but we have plenty of tickets to give away. Great news. Last night on my way home, I stopped in and picked up all the helmets. So anybody that is owed a helmet, I have them. Let me give you a quick look at what these are. I'll just grab top 2 here. So we have a Salute to Service helmet. Pretty sweet. I love this helmet. I love these every single season. I want to get them. That is Panay Sewell, signed right there. I don't know if you can see that. Panay Sewell. And you got your certificate of authenticity sticker on the back. So every helmet's going to come with a certificate of authenticity. This is another Panay Sewell. This is just a traditional silver helmet. And then I have 3 more boxes of these. So we've got 24 helmets ready to go. Remember, the only channel that's giving away about $15,000 worth of stuff every year is us. Every 500 subscribers, someone's going to end up with one of these helmets. These are worth about $150. You know, after you buy the helmet, pay for the signature, and then the value, that's about what they're worth. So every 500 subscribers, we're giving out $150. I've got multiple new sponsors coming in that are also going to be helping us with more giveaways. A major sponsor landed last night, and I'll be talking more about that next week once we wrap up our deal. But I'm pretty confident we're good to go, and it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. I love it. I appreciate how everybody has really come to support what we're doing. And a lot of that's because of you guys. So every single one of you that's in the chat right now need to pat yourself on the back. Because you guys show up, because you like the stream, share the stream, send it to your buddies. That is the reason why we are having success. We would be nothing without you guys. And because of that help, 1, I can't thank you enough. But 2, that is why this network is going to go places, because of the wonderful fans. The best fans in the entire world, in my opinion, are right here, the Detroit Lions fans. And every new channel that we start, you guys show up. And when we start all the new channels for all the different teams throughout the NFL, hopefully those fans show up. And I bet that they will. Hopefully they love the style of content that we try to put together. So let's get Chef back in here. Let's talk about winners and losers of day 1 and 2. Camp battles heating up. And then between 9 and 9:15, we're going to be doing some ticket giveaways. Welcome back, Chef. All right, so camp battles that are starting to heat up, and winners and losers first 2 days of training camp. What would you, wherever you want to start, go ahead and pick. What if you had to describe the last 2 days and who's winning, who's losing right away? Who would it be and why? And I guess give us a recap of what you feel is going on in camp right now.
And you can feel it deep.
Me or Chef?
You want me to go
Chef.
ahead and start?
Yep. Chef.
Oh, okay. All right. So winners, losers. Obviously, loser would be Michael Badgley. That's, hey, I mean, he gets a paid year off. So I don't think there's too many big losers. I mean, we'll talk about the elephant in the room. We'll talk about the biggest winner right now is that man JMO. J-Mo was winning all over the field.
Sorry, I got
Look
something
at-
on my chest.
Yeah. Was that J-Mo talk or was that
Just frog in my throat. I just hairball.
Listen, JMO's going full JMO. You never want to go full JMO.
All right, hold the phone here. So, okay. Look, number one, I support JMO. Okay, I support him. I want him to do great because he's a Detroit Lion. We need him to step out this year and do something big. We need it.
Will, I now understand why JMO has you blocked.
Because I'm supporting him?
No, because
no, there's a big butt coming. We're waiting for the butt to drop.
But Sam Darnold also hit JJ yesterday on a deep bomb. So does that mean that Sam Darnold is the next coming of whatever quarterback you want to compare him to? And does that mean that JJ is about to have a huge season because Sam Darnold threw one bomb in practice? No, it doesn't. It's practice. No. But here's the other thing. You guys have to remember this. If you've never been to camp, if you've never been to family day, there is a certain component of something called showmanship. Mm-hmm. Okay, you'll get a run back in the kicking game or the punting game. You'll get some deep bombs that are thrown to your receivers for touchdowns. It's then glorified by everybody that's there. It's part of the hey, we're back and let's get everybody pumped up and excited. JMO, go, and we're gonna hit you. And I mean, just watch the play. Terry and Arnold barely ran. I mean, he gave up like 30 yards to the end zone. So remember, I watch all that stuff. I've been there numerous times, and every single time there's always some deep bombs. There's always a punt return or a kick return. I'm not saying JMO didn't run a good route. I'm not saying that Jared Goff didn't throw a great ball, because they did. But what I will tell you is they probably were running like 50, 60% speed. They wanted to just get the crowd up. They had some visitors there. Hulk Hogan was there. They had, some other things going on with media and other visitors. So just remember that the first couple of days, you're going to have that. When we see it up against the Giants, that's when I'm going to start to say he's arrived. When we start to see JMO practicing against the other teams this training camp, that's when I'm going to say he's arrived. Until then, I'm going to just be a little regarded, in my opinion, on JMO until I see it. So just remember that. That's the but. I love you, JMO. I want you to do great, dude. I really do. But I want you to do it against a different team, not your own team.
Eric, before you go in, I just want to say, Will, you must have really low standards for JMO if you want to say he arrived by doing it against the Giants. But that's all I wanted to say.
No, what I'm saying is it's not so much the team, it's just a different team. I don't care what team it is in the NFL. I mean, these are professional athletes. So to do it against your own team is one thing. To do it up against a different team that's trying to beat you, that's different. So, and I'm using them as an example because that's who we have, in camp practice with this year. So, all right, go for it. Go ahead. Who's up next?
I'm telling you right now, those plays in practice that they keep showing on the internet, I don't care about those two plays. The plays I care about are the ones where JMO's running routes and you see the difference in how he's running and how fast he's running. He is smoking everybody. That guy, like Terrian said, he's running 4.1 and everybody else is running 4.3.
Yeah.
He is just smoking people. And
so let me comment on that real quick. So when they said that JMO looks faster this year, you have to remember, like, he is now 2 full seasons away of his ACL repair.
Mm-hmm.
So he's finally getting that confidence back. The muscle memory's back. The bounce is back. I mean, he has confidence in the first step that he takes now, which I think is part of the reason why you're going to see JMO have success this year, is the confidence. When you don't have confidence either in your ability or in your injury, like coming off, I mean, that sticks with people in your head. I don't know how many of you guys in the chat or even you guys have ever, come back from an injury to play a sport. I've had to do it multiple times. You have zero confidence because in the mind, you're thinking, am I going to do it again? Am I going to do it again? Oh, that didn't feel right. Did I do it again? You could see that in JMO last year when he first came back, that, and even in the first season, the last 6 games, he was scattered a little bit, or a lot really. and he didn't know the playbook that well, at least from what we understood or what we were told. And then in the second season, it finally clicked in the second half. And I've said this many times, but the game that it clicked was when, I think it was against Denver. He went up for a pass on the boundary on the right side of the field. And when he came down, both of his legs were underneath him and they like hyperextended. You guys remember that play? And he kind of rolled off the field, and then he army crawled off the field. That's when I think he finally developed his confidence to say, wow, I should have just been injured big time. I'm fine. And at that point, I think it clicked for J-Mo, and he was like, all right, I'm good. Let's do this. And he came right back in, a few plays later, and he never let off after that. He continued to stack some days, in a row. So anyway, go ahead on J-Mo, winners and losers. So far in camp, Eric, we'll kick it over to you.
All right. So something nobody's talking about is bets in Houston. Bets in Houston have been staying after practice every day with Derek Barnes and doing dummy drills and tip pass drills and things that no one else is doing. They're the last 3 guys off the practice field every day so far. So that's something I'm going to say those guys are my winners because they're putting in the work. No one's just resting on, hey, this is what we did last year. They're putting in the work, and I love it. It's so awesome. And then to find out that Jahmyr Gibbs has been staying after practice with Amon-Ra St. Brown to run extra routes and work on his route running and hit the jugs machine with him and catch some extra balls. There you go. There's my other winner, Jahmyr Gibbs. Having these guys put in the extra work and go above and beyond and want to be better, man, the season can't get here fast enough. I'm just ready for some football. I'm ready for some training camp. I can't wait to be down there on the 11th. I am getting super pumped.
All right, so real quick here in the chat, I see Broski Bear was saying something about a report about the Lions having one of the slowest secondaries. I've never seen that report, but here's what I will tell you. The Detroit Lions secondary, or at least from the cornerback standpoint, probably averages a 4.45, 4.48 40 time. Guess who else has a 4.5 or 4.5, 4.48 40 time?
Jalen Johnson.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. So Amon-Ra St. Brown was said to be slow, and that's why he slipped in the draft. And now he's your number 1, 2, 3 wide receiver in the NFL, somewhere in that mix, right? Top 5 for sure. But his play speed, over 21 miles per hour on the field with pads on. So tested slow on a 40 time in his underwear, plays much faster with pads on in the game. So straight line speed means absolutely dog poo in the NFL. Game speed is different. When your adrenaline is running, you play faster. When you know what you're doing, you play faster. Brian Branch, clearly one of the slower DBs, one of the best nickels in the game last year. Didn't allow more than 3 yards on average of yak. Dropped everybody where their shoes met the ground. So I'm not worried. Go ahead and think that they're slow. I'm not worried one bit. I think that the Lions are going to do just fine with who they have. Go ahead, Chef.
I was going to say that, the speed thing it's funny that the NFL has partnered with Amazon and they do the AWS thing where they have chips on the players and they have chips in the balls and they measure the speed that they run with. And yet you still have scouting departments who look at a guy's 40 time instead of his gameplay speed. And they go, nah, he's not fast enough. That's crazy to me.
So Mike P was asking if I'm saying it's scripted. No. This is just practice. So in practice, in training camp, at the family night that will be hosted probably in a few weeks. I can't remember when family night is. They usually do a few things just to kind of get the crowd pumped up. So you'll have a punt return, a kick return. You'll have, a couple of deep passes. Just go back and watch the film of training camp. and you'll see the what little film exists anyway, especially with the catch to JMO. You'll see where you could see Terry and Arnold pull him back. Now, whether he felt like, okay, I'm beat, there's no way I'm going to catch this dude, I'm out the race, is what it is. But, if Yatu Melifonwu kind of did the same thing. Doesn't mean that JMO hasn't arrived. It doesn't mean that Jared Goff and JMO aren't finally putting it together. One of the most important things that I heard this entire offseason was last week. And that's where they were talking about Jameson Williams, and that if he finally puts it together this year, ball tracking has been a huge issue. And if he finally puts that stamp on that part of his game this season, and it's no more of this, right? In the face, no more of that stuff, right? If he can just settle down and track the ball, you're going to see an offense that is unstoppable. If he can actually get downfield, know where the ball is. So the inside shoulder, much easier ball to catch. Outside shoulder, a lot more difficult to catch. And he's now catching them on the outside shoulder. So the ball that he caught against, in practice the other day, that was outside shoulder, left side of the field. That's an extremely difficult ball to catch. Being right-handed, left side is usually easier on the outside. Right side on the inside is usually the hardest. It's just not as natural, turning to your right. So that gave me some confidence about JMO. But hearing, other people talk about Jameson Williams and the fact that his ball tracking was terrible since he's been in the league on the deep ball, you can't totally blame Jared Goff for everything that happens. Sometimes, your wide receivers are just not running good routes. Sometimes they're not seeing the ball, and that dictates how they continue to run over the pass or run under the pass and causes issues on the field. So let's hope that the timing situation gets better. Was there anything else you guys wanted to add, for winners and losers, so far here in camp?
Well, I'll add for just to piggyback off what you said about the timing. I mean, the timing is a twofold situation. It's the quarterback and it's the receiver. So when you see that JMO was suspended for what turned out to be 4 games instead of the 2 games, which it should have been, the retroactive let's cut his suspension by 4 games after we've let him do 4 was wild. But just coming in the middle of the season, trying to develop chemistry and timing, and then also remember that he had the hamstring injury last preseason, so he's that timing that he was supposed to be able to get, he wasn't able to do that because it got ended prematurely. So yeah, now that they've had that time on task, as you said, now that they've had that time together, this is why we see both Goff not overthrowing him and JMO being able to track the football. But the last thing that I'll say about JMO is that if you guys are going to family night, you just need to make sure that you hide your kids and you hide your wife because JMO's burning everybody out here. That's all I want to say.
All right, here's my winners and losers so far. And first, a little bit of news. The Lions did sign a defensive lineman yesterday, Bada, of I don't know how do you say it. Ghanaian? Is that how you say it? Ghanaian descent?
I think he's
is it Ghanaian or Ghanaian descent?
Ghanaian, I think.
But anyway, Ghanaian. From Ghana. I know a little bit about Ghana. Yeah. My uncle actually was in the Peace Corps over in Ghana and taught English to some tribes over there and actually was kinged before he left, which was pretty cool. They gave him a kingship ceremony before he left Ghana after a few years. So the fact that the Lions are steadily making improvements to the roster, with DJ Reader, clearly still rehabbing, the Lions wanted to bolster, this defensive line, which tells me, are they confident with everybody that they have? Number one, or at least gives me that question, that pause. And 2, he won't be counted towards the 90-man roster anyway because he's part of the International Pathways program, which means that, we could have 91 or 92 guys on the roster, and those 2 really won't count because of that International Player Pathway program. So don't know anything about the guy, but, that guy was signed sometime yesterday. Might have been late in the evening. But my instant winner of training camp so far is Emmanuel Mosley. I figured that Emmanuel Mosley was not going to be able to hit the ground running here in training camp. Last year, he missed training camp or a large portion of it because he had that cleanup surgery and was not able to hit the ground running, right? This year, he's come back from his second ACL in 2 seasons. He obviously learned a lot from the first one. And this time was able to get back and get on the field to start training camp. So he's an instant winner, in my opinion, to be able to start the season the right way and have a real opportunity to make this roster. So even though we haven't seen a whole lot yet, there was an article here. Let me go back and find it. There was an article that came out about him. All right, so this was by Brad Behrman of Sideline Report. He said, in 2023 free agency, knowing he was coming off of a torn left ACL playing for the 49ers the previous October, the Detroit Lions signed Emmanuel Mosley as part of a plan to reshape their cornerback depth chart. Obviously, that didn't work out, but then there came some setbacks in that recovery, which delayed his Lions debut to Week 5 last season. As we know the story, second defensive snap versus Carolina Panthers, Week 5, he tore the other side. Now, he's obviously super ecstatic to be back on the field. And pads won't come on for the Lions at training camp until next week, Monday. But how things look on these ramp-up days can kind of foretell how things will look when the pads go on. This is, again, according to Brad Behrman. Reporters on the ground at Allen Park on Wednesday noted how Mosley was surprisingly seeing some snaps at nickel. Interesting development. Never once did I think that Emmanuel would come down to the nickel position. But the fact that he's getting an opportunity there, I think is great. Here's a quote from Mosley. He says, last year, I was not out here at all, not even to be seen. I just have a lot of gratitude to be back on this field after my second ACL. First day of practice, that was one of my goals, and I accomplished it. Now I'm just ready to see how far I can take this thing. Great statement by Mosley, man. The fact that he feels confident from just getting that first check box, that first box checked, was just to make it back to practice. Secondly, he said, after that he's feeling healthy or whatever, he says that's really how I made the team those years, is being able to play both nickel and outside corner. So when we brought Mosley in, I thought for sure he was going to be the number one outside corner. Injury obviously dictated that wasn't going to happen. Cam Sutton then ruined, the entire season for us at times. But I never thought for 1 minute that Cam was going to be the number one. I thought that he was going to be the number two. And I thought there's going to be a little bit of a battle there with him and Jerry Jacobs, but not much of one. Mosley talked about his affinity for playing nickel, though, saying that you're in the run game, and I'm a physical player. I like to hit. And then he offered up this quote to Justin Rogers. He said, I like to put my face in the fan and make people feel me. I love that statement. So he's a hitter. We know that he likes to be aggressive. The fact that he's getting some early nickel tells me that the Lions are pretty confident keeping Brian Branch at safety the majority of training camp. So he's an instant winner for me. On the defensive side of the ball, we're going to have a ton of winners this year. On the offensive side of the ball, I would love to throw, J-Mo into the mix. I just need to see more. But Hendon Hooker had a much better second day than he did the first day. And for that reason, I'm going to say that Hendon Hooker is starting to win. He's starting to stack days right now. We need to see him excel as a backup quarterback. What do you guys expect? I'll start with you, Chef. What are you expecting now from Hendon Hooker as we get through training camp and watching his progress? Do 60 seconds, and then we'll kick it over to Eric.
I'm expecting him to beat out Nate Sudfeld. The potential that he has, I think, is one that they want to foster. Just like I think the same thing happened with Jake Bates. Unfortunately, Michael Badgley is injured. But I think even if he hadn't gotten injured, it was, we want to put this guy in a position to allow him to succeed. And I think they're going to do that with Hendon Hooker because they realize Chase Daniel, they realize David Blau, they realize what was the other guy's name? Tim Boyle. Okay. This can happen with Nate Sudfeld if, unfortunately, or let's say we hope that Jared Goff doesn't suffer any type of injuries or anything like that. But can a guy come in and win you the game? And I think that they will be more confident in Hendon Hooker being able to do that because of his skill set, his youth, all of his abilities. So I think that they're going to give him those opportunities, and we'll see him continue to grow throughout training camp.
Eric, what do you think about Hooker's success on day 2, and where do you want to see it, get into the preseason here? What are you expecting from him?
Yeah, so this is very early for Hooker. You got to remember, just like JMO, he's coming off of an ACL injury. You know, he got redshirted last year. He got to do a little practicing at the end of the season. So running a pro-style offense is something very foreign to him and very new to him. So it is going to take time. And the Lions offense is all about timing. It's kind of like the greatest show on turf. When you had the Rams, everything was absolute timing with that offense. And this is very similar to that. And listen, Hooker is going to need every single rep in practice, every single rep in every preseason game. You are probably going to see him play almost entire preseason games, is my prediction. You'll probably see him in like 3/4 of a game for 1 or 2 of the games. And it's going to be a battle between him and Nate Sudfeld because Nate knows the playbook. Nate has looked very sharp the first few couple days of camp. And it's going to be hard for him to beat him out. But there's a couple things that are going in Hooker's favor, and that's his mobility and the fact that he was taken in the 3rd round. So there's something that Brad Holmes knows about him, and that's that Hooker has the it factor. So he may be a little off on some of his throws early on, but you get that kid in a rhythm, and he's got the it factor. I don't know how to explain what the it factor is, but you know it when you see it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if Hooker passes the eyeball test. And of course, I want to see him be the number 2. I don't want to see him delegated to number 3. I really want to see this kid succeed.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot. There's a lot for Hooker. Let me rephrase that. There's a lot to be desired from Hendon Hooker because there was so much lead up to, him being drafted by the Lions and the fact that if he was healthy, I felt that he was a top 5 quarterback, top 5 pick last season had he been healthy. And to a degree, when you look at the offense that he came from, and I've said this numerous times, that it was a terrible offense, right? It does not translate to the NFL. That would have knocked him down regardless. No matter what team took him, if he was healthy, that would have been an issue for every team. He would have been a developmental guy no matter what. Even if he was taken in the 1st round, top 10, he still would have been a developmental guy, in my opinion. Kind of like what you see with J.J. McCarthy or Michael Penix Jr. or, any of these other guys that were taken this year in the top 15 of this draft. 3 of those guys are developmental guys. And they may not see the field for the first year, and that's okay. I think that would have been Hendon Hooker's trajectory had he been taken last season, if he was fully healthy. But he wasn't. So the Lions pick him up in the 3rd round. And now this season, what you're seeing is he's got a lot to learn. Finally, in his first training camp, able to move, able to throw the ball, able to develop the continuity and the respect of his players, right? And his teammates. He's going to have major ebbs and flows. His first preseason game could be god-awful. Could be lights out. We just don't know. So there's a lot to be desired from Hendon Hooker. The fact that, Nate Sudfeld is back, and you heard Dan, Campbell say it this morning, Nate's back for a reason. He's been very good for Jared Goff from a preparation standpoint. To your point, Eric, he knows the playbook really well. And sometimes it's not about so much what you can do on the field, it's what you do off of the field. So, when they say that, some people play the game and then those that can't play teach the game, Nate Sudfeld is a teacher, in my opinion. He's one of those guys that after he hangs up the cleats, he's probably going to end up back in the league, maybe as a quarterback coach assistant, maybe as working his way into an offensive coordinator type position or assistant. I think he'll come back in some capacity as a coach. That is probably one of the biggest reasons why Nate Sudfeld is on the field next to Jared Goff, is because he sees things and he helps Jared get into the right moment of the game, right? And understanding what's going on and what they're seeing, transpiring on the field, and how, Nate can slow it down for him quickly. So I don't think that Nate is a big threat to Hendon Hooker's ability on the field. I think now it's just the level of the mental side of the game. Who's going to rise above the physical attributes that they, that Hendon clearly has, but the mental side of the game, I think that's where Hendon's going to have a delay here. In no way, shape, or form do I feel that Hendon Hooker is not the quarterback to enter the season. I just hope that Nate Sudfeld can stick around on the practice squad, because it would be nice to have him, still on the sideline in some capacity, as a coach. Maybe the Lions do what they did to, who was that a couple years ago? This defensive player as a linebacker. They made him a coach. Do you guys remember who that was? They made him an assistant. It was a Lions player turned assistant. He didn't make the roster, and instead he was offered a position on the team as an assistant. I could see that happening for Nate Sudfeld. Maybe look, Nate, we're cutting you, but can you coach for us this year? Can you be part of Jared Goff's round circle here and be integral piece to this? I think Nate probably understands he's not going to start in the NFL. He's probably the third quarterback at best on every NFL team. And I'm not throwing shade on you, Nate. It's just, it is what it is, man.
Yeah. So this is the question I want answered from training camp. Heaven forbid something happens to Jared Goff. He rolls an ankle and he's out for a game. Who do you trust? And that's what this boils down to. Do you trust Nate Sudfeld to go in and be a game manager and take care of one game? Or do you trust Hendon Hooker because of his physical attributes to do the same? So it boils down to who can you trust for a game or two if, heaven forbid, something happens to Goff. Because you got to realize, what was it, 63% of quarterbacks last year missed at least one game?
Yeah. But I would also say that could also depend on who your opponent is. Like, who do you want to put? If it's an opponent where you can just get in and hand the ball off and just run it down their throats, then you go with Sudfeld. But if it's an opponent where you kind of need some plays to come from the quarterback position, then I would think that you would go with Hendon Hooker, because he has the ability to be the playmaker. However, Will did say, it's the mental part. He is essentially a rookie, So I would say, if he's got the mental part down and he's able to get the playbook and all these things, and he can do that with confidence and improve to them, then I think that, he would have the fast track. But the thing that I was going to say about Sudfeld is, we were the team that got the emergency quarterback rule passed, right?
Yeah,
so
for the third quarterback.
Yeah, so he's probably going to be on the roster.
All right, hey, Chef, give me 1 second here. I've got to go grab a cord. I forgot to connect the phone. So if you want to take a topic real quick and just chat for a few minutes, I got to grab a cord and I'll be back.
Yeah. All right, no problem. But yeah, so as I was saying, he could be the third quarterback. He probably will be. I don't know that they're bringing anybody else in, at this point. And if they were to bring someone in, it would be because something bad has happened. So we don't
Yeah.
want that to happen. You want to talk about JMO some more?
Sure. Yeah. Well, see, one thing that Will kind of ignores about JMO, okay,
Mhm.
is the fact that the kid was very, very immature, and he has spoken about that this offseason, that he was very immature. He didn't study the playbook like he should have. And when you don't know the playbook and you get out there and you are just running fly routes, and that's basically all you can do because you don't know the route tree, you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. And even Goff said, I don't know what route he's running. And when you throw the ball to a guy that you don't know where he's going, you're not going to put the ball where it's supposed to be. And of course, he's going to be looking up in the lights, trying to find the ball. So he has said he knows it now. And you could see it the last couple games of the year, especially in the playoffs. The kid's getting it.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So, are you guys still talking about a topic? I obviously didn't hear any of it. So,
We had to speak about JMO a little bit more.
are you good? Are you good? You finish your topic, or
Yeah, we're good.
okay? Ruining my show talking about JMO. God damn it.
You're gonna have to watch it later to see what we said.
All right. So Shane, the phone line will be open, and I'm 6 minutes late. So here's what I'm gonna do. I've got training camp tickets to give away. So Shane, give me just 1 second. I want to get some training camp tickets given away here. Since we have, we've got a lot of dates. Oh, here we go. Come on. Where is it? Am I not in the right account? Where's my account here? Profile details. Where are my tickets? Upcoming events. How come the stupid tickets never show up? Did we just talk about this the other day? How the tickets don't show up?
Yeah. Me and Will were having a conversation after the show the other day, and you can't just go to your Ticketmaster. You have to go through your Alliance account and then look at the. So I use the email right from them to get to it. And don't forget me for the 11th either, Will.
I sent them to you, didn't I?
You did?
I thought I did.
No, I never got nothing. I never got an email or anything.
Knowing me, I probably was doing it just like I did with Braylon, putting everything together and then falling asleep or something.
Yeah.
I just need this to load. It's not loading. Why won't it load?
I like David Bryson. You get a ticket. You get a ticket. Everybody gets a ticket.
Right. I wish I had that many tickets to give away.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Okay, so July 29th is the first date that we have. Now, we've already given some tickets away. Now, that's my birthday. I will be at that one. I have at least 4 tickets to give away. I usually give them away in pairs. If you want a single ticket, that's okay too. And what it requires is your Ticketmaster account email. So you will have to email us your Ticketmaster account email in order for me to transfer the ticket via Ticketmaster. So July 29th, I need the first 2 people to comment in the chat right now. If you want to go to July 29th, 2 tickets to 2 people right now.
Yeah, get on it.
First 2 people to comment in the chat.
Who's it going to be? You need the Jeopardy music going right now. The
I've got to get all that stuff lined up. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, we got all these pads on these roads. You need to get those going.
All right, we need 2 people to comment in the chat. Do you want tickets to July 29th? And I guess I can throw a couple of other dates out there. Roger Trampus, does that mean you want to go to July 29th? Just say, I want to go on July 29th or something.
Then Steve Wittes?
Witty? Wittis?
Steve
68?
Wittes 68.
Getting lots of comments is moving so fast.
Okay, so if Roger Chappis wants to go on to the 29th, just email me, mailbag at rockedon.com. Again, mailbag at rockedon, that's ROCKEDON.com, with your Ticketmaster email, and then I will transfer 2 tickets to you today. If you only need 1 ticket, just tell me you only need 1 ticket, and that way I can give another one to somebody else. Steve Wittis 68, looks like you want to go as well. I can give you 2 tickets to the 29th. Or if you just want a single, again, same thing, mailbag at rockedon.com. Let me get through the rest of these. Roger Chappis, July 30th to 31st is okay for you too. So nothing on the 29th for you, Roger? I just need you to pick one date. So I do have July 30th and 31st available too. All 3 days. I at least just need 4 people to comment. 2 tickets to 4 people. Pick a day. July 29, July 30, or July 31.
Yeah. I like this. What other channels giving out a bunch of training camp tickets? I don't know one yet, and I watch them all.
Yeah, I mean, no one's really doing this type of stuff, man. But not only this, but it's literally all of the support that comes into this channel, whether it's super chats or buy me a coffee or whatever it is. All that money gets turned around and put back into the channel for giveaways and things of that nature. I mean, I think we've given away over 15 grand last year, and we're going to be well on our way to 15 grand this year. David Bryson says August 11th. I know I have very limited tickets for August 11th. When I get closer to that date, I'll see what I have left.
Yeah, and don't forget me.
You're right. That's why I got to make sure I get people taken care of.
Because otherwise it ruins all my plans.
No, I got you. So let me put it in here. Mailbag at rockedon.com. That's the email. I need 4 people to comment. July 29, July 30, July 31st. 2 tickets to 4 people. Man, we can even go out to August 1st. 2 tickets to 4 people. You got 4 dates to choose from. Roger Tapas is one. Steve Wittis is the other one. So I need 2 more people just to email me, but comment in the chat first. Need your Ticketmaster email and the date that you want to go.
I think Broski Bear should get some tickets. I don't think he's busy with anything.
If Broski wants to come to a training camp, I'll make sure he can go.
Dude, and I'll try to be there.
There's nothing going on in his life as far as an NFL football team. So if he wants to come to a Lions training,
we'll even get him. Yeah. Hey, we'll even get him outfitted with a Jared Goff jersey.
Dude, I'll buy him a jersey.
Pictures. We'll make sure that we completely ruin his Chicago Bear fandom. All right, July 30th for Roger Chappis. Just do me a favor, send me that email, and we'll get you handled.
All right, I just sent it. I even did it.
I mean, I get it, broski. I mean, you want to be with the hot hand. The bandwagon has plenty of room on the 50th cart leaving the station. Come on now. See how hard it is to give away tickets? I've got like 100 tickets to give away, and it's extremely hard to give away tickets. So I'm going to do a video today, and then I'm going to put it out there. So if you guys don't snag them today, by the time I do some videos, yeah. Rick says, I'd love to go, but I can't go to an event like that without either my wife or my bro. Only ones I trust with. Ooh, seizures. So Rick, I mean, I've got at least 2 tickets for you. If you can,
Yeah, you can take somebody with you.
You can take somebody with you.
You don't.
And then if I'm there, we can make sure that we got some people around you. And they have event staff there. They have medical staff there. They have a full medical tent, or it's actually air conditioned trailer. Yeah.
And there's a canopy this year.
Shane Smith, if you live close by, I would go. Yeah, these are once in a lifetime, man. This is awesome. Eric will owe me tickets soon enough.
I ain't gonna owe you nothing, broski bear. You can go.
Yeah, on August 11th, we're gonna have some giveaway bags. Uperlights is gonna be doing a few things, but I think Uperlights is also planning on bringing some things that you can probably purchase too. So if you're looking at, buying some rocks or some flashlights, I'm sure he'll have some extra things with him. I'm trying to put this together. So I was thinking about having the meet and greet in Livonia, but the more I thought about it, that's like 30 minutes away from Allen Park, and it might be too far away. I've got to call a place today to see if we can utilize their parking lot, because it's literally right around the corner. I called him Wednesday, but the director was out, so I've got to call back today. All right, so Roger, I'll look for your email, and I haven't seen anyone else comment, so I'll leave it open. Shane Smith, if you're ready to call back, you can call back right now. Talk about whatever it is that you wanted to comment on.
Hey, Will.
Yo.
I've got a little bit of an announcement.
Okay.
Okay, so this is super cool. This is something that Will asked me for. I now have something very cool on my website. So if you go to www.uberlights.com and go to the search bar and type in Rocked On, I have something special just for the people right here on this podcast. And it's the only way you can get to it is go to the website, uberlights.com, and type Rocked On in the search bar. And you are going to get a special price on something super ultra cool. So for one of my Uberlight mini flashlights, a map, my special treasure map with 10 spots to go hunting, and a Uberlight stone together, all for $30. So if you bought all those things separately, the light would cost you $20, the map would cost you $20, and the stone would cost you at least $10. And you're going to get $50 worth of stuff for $30 only for the people in this podcast. So type in Rocked On in the search bar, and it'll take you right to the page, and you can order one today.
Awesome, man. That's awesome.
I wanted to do something special for the people of this podcast, and I wanted to hook you up with a map so you know where to go, a flashlight, and a rock so you know what they look like, and you take your rock down to the beach with you. When you think it's dark enough, you put it on the beach, try it with your flashlight, and if you can see it, it's dark enough.
All right. I don't see anyone else commenting for tickets, so we'll keep a line open on this. But once I pump the video out, I'm sure that all these tickets are going to disappear. So I'm going to try to give away like 30, 40 tickets today to get into these first 3 events or 4 events. I'm only going to be able to go a couple of days. Matter of fact, I'll probably go on the 31st since I've got to drive to the Hall of Fame anyway. I'll be over. I might as well get 2 hours out of my trip. All right, so what's up next here? Let me go back to the roster. We talked about get your tickets, new sponsor, Mailbag. We talked about. So wrapping up the first couple of days of camp here. Let me look at a couple of things online. Let's see if there's any more information coming out. I haven't been able to really do the coverage that I normally do for training camp. I'm usually there, and I'll do pop-up lives. So I'm going to have a bunch of things scheduled. It doesn't mean that I'm going to actually go live. I'm going to have them scheduled and ready to go, so they're accessible, that while we're there, we can go live and talk about what's going on at training camp. The headlines. So someone had asked me about Hulk Hogan, and that was a mailbag question. What were my thoughts about Hulk Hogan? So I guess a whole bunch of stuff hit the internet yesterday about Hulk Hogan and his political ties or involvement, and why would the Lions bring this guy in? And
I made a post about Hulk Hogan yesterday, and it went freaking viral. Everybody arguing about his political views, and
I guess I missed it. So what the heck happened?
I guess he's a Trump thumper, and he used the N word, and
Oh,
he got kicked out of the WWE for using it in a derogatory manner. And I guess he's just out there. And I knew nothing about it. I grew up watching Hulk Hogan, Rowdy Piper, the Junkyard Dog. Those were my faves, man. The Iron Sheik and Andre the Giant. You know, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and dude, those guys were my heroes when I was a kid. So I knew nothing about any of this. So I made a post about Hulk Hogan being at Detroit Lions camp yesterday, and it had like 1.7 thousand comments on it, all about his political views and how the Lions shouldn't have anything to do with them.
yeah.
I
So
didn't know
this,
anything about it.
just a quick internet search. It looks like that came out about 9 years ago. That he was kicked out of the WWE over racist outbursts caught on tape. He said to please forgive me. I mean, some things are just some things are unforgivable, but man, you would think that being in the WWE and being around all types of mixture, melting pot of people, I guess I never expected something like that from Hulk Hogan, but maybe he's been hit in the head one too many times. As far as the political ties and all that stuff, I mean, look, just because some people are outwardly expressive of their political ties, I don't think that should give us a right to just hate them or ban them or, cancel culture. Now, using racism, that's totally different. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying tear the dude up, but look, the Lions are not bringing this guy in. Who knows if they even reached out to him? Maybe he reached out to them like, hey, I'll be in the area. Can I come to camp? Who knows? I don't know the whole story behind it.
Yeah, so he's in town promoting his new beer.
Oh,
because he's releasing a new beer here in Michigan.
Gotcha. Well,
yeah,
is what it is. I'm obviously not going to comment on the political thing. I don't get involved in all of that stuff, especially I'm here to talk about football. I'm not here to talk about politics.
Exactly.
That's why we don't allow the politic talk and chatter in our chat, because we want people to have fun talking about football, not politics. Politics are divisive enough. It's caused a lot of problems in families and friendships and business relationships. I mean,
football is our escape from all of the other stuff.
1,000%.
Let's do football.
And Chef doesn't even have to worry about it because he's, a bajillion miles away in the other side of the world.
He's safe over there, man.
Yeah, I don't know how safe, but he's safe over there.
Is it still cold over there, Chef?
It's safe enough. Yeah, it is cold. That's why I'm
So I guess
I got the sleeves on.
Yeah, so to answer but not answer on the Hulk Hogan thing. Look, I didn't know any of this stuff was going on yesterday. I had some questions in the mailbag about it, so I'm going to politely not answer the questions. I don't have a stance, I guess, that I would even be willing to share. I don't think the Lions would make that type of mistake if they thought that all of this was going to happen. But then again, maybe somebody didn't do their background. I don't know who let the dude in, but I can only imagine if they knew what happened in 2015, if they knew what was going on, maybe they probably would have thought differently. On the positive side, I mean, I think it's great that you've got all walks of life talking about Lions, right? I think that's the positive side. So, all right, we'll move on from that one. What else do we have going on in Lions news? So here's your top headings for the day. Lions lose kicker to the for the season due to severe injury. We just talked about Hulk Hogan visiting the Lions camp. The hype train for Jake Bates is no longer hype. It's real. Jake Bates is your kicker for the season. Question is, are the Lions now going to bring in another kicker? I have not heard anything yet, but I would not be surprised if they bring in another kicker for camp.
It's going to be Riley Patterson.
Yeah, better not be. I'm so sick of seeing the same names every year. It's like a revolving door that just never stops turning, and every time it turns, someone else is spit out, and it's like, come on. Tim Twentyman's training camp day 2 observations. Let's review what Tim Twentyman had to say. Here we go. Ramped up energy. There was an obvious uptick in the energy, pace, and trash talking between the offense and defense from day 1 to day 2. I love the fact that they're trash talking each other. They have confidence, which is great to see. Best on best. It was fun to watch Penei Sewell work against Aiden Hutchinson. Both players are so much better for the work that they get against each other. Hutchinson was definitely a man on a mission on Thursday. He was dominant in the last team period, recording a sack from both sides of the line and opening up another sack for the blitzing cornerback. Let's see. There we go. Terrion Arnold by taking the tight end and the tackle with him on an inside move. Hutchinson is poised for a monster third season. So that's another thing that I was talking about all offseason. Again, you guys all called me crazy. Just like I said about Brian Branch going to safety, as I said, quit worrying about the edge position. You're not going to have to worry about it. You're not going to only get sacks from the edge position. There's literally 8 more positions, eight, 9 more guys on the field that you can get sacks from. Cornerback blitzing, safety blitzing, nickel blitzing, linebacker blitzing, defensive tackle, you name it. The fact that we're seeing Terrion Arnold already getting installed in the blitz package, what does that tell you, Chef? What are you expecting now from this defense?
Destruction. No, like I said, I mean, it's just the versatility, man. It's the ability to just deploy multiple fronts, multiple schemes, multiple wrinkles in this defense. And DJ Reader's not even back yet, So once he gets back, and he's able to be inserted right next to Aleem McNeil. I believe that Broderick Martin is starting right now next to Aleem McNeil, and I guess we'll see how much he's progressed come Monday when the pads come on. But man, it's just going to be exciting. They're going to be flying around. Terrion Arnold himself brings a certain amount of swagger and confidence to that cornerback room. And I'm pretty sure veterans like Carlton Davis and Amik Robertson and Emmanuel Mosley are not going to want to be out-swagged and out-confidenced by a rookie. So I think that their intensity is going to ratchet up as well. It's just an overall wonderful situation for this defense to think from where we came from last season to now. It's just night and day.
Yeah, it is definitely night and day. Eric, did you ever imagine, that not getting another edge rusher on the opposite of Aiden Hutchinson that wasn't, being paid $25 million? Did you ever think for a moment that was going to be a detriment to this team? Or did you feel, the confidence starting to brew that just maybe revamping the cornerback room, which was our biggest deficiency from last season, installing an interior pass rush with DJ Reader at some point, was going to be the answer? What were your immediate thoughts, I guess, on all of that? And Shane, the phone line is open. You can call in. It looks like you might have called in again, but I had the volume off, of course. So call in if you're still on.
Yeah. So when we initially signed Davenport, I wasn't all that impressed. Still left me kind of worried. But I didn't have the worry like everyone else did at the trade deadline last year, where everyone wanted Sweat and everyone wanted Chase. And I've never been one to go after the big free agent. I wanted to bring somebody up through the ranks and do it that way and get our own players. And this offseason, we brought in Davenport and Betts as free agents. And this Betts kid really has me intrigued. And I'm slightly intrigued by Davenport. The only thing that has me kind of worried is DJ Reader going to be on the IR for the first 4 weeks? Is he going to be on the PUP list? How long is he going to stay there?
This is Will with Rock Down Detroit Lions. Keep going, Eric.
Yeah. So, my only concern with all of that is how healthy is DJ Reader going to be and how soon is he going to be back? Because when he gets back, and if Davenport and Betts together can equal, even 3/4 of what Hutch is on the other side, then that is going to be one dangerous line. It is going to be uncontrollable how good that line is going to be. And having a good defensive line is only going to help our secondary. I really believe our secondary is going to take a little bit. It's going to take 4 or 5 games for these guys to gel, to become a brotherhood and learn each other, because you can't even think. You have to be able to let the other guy do his job, you do your job, but you're going to know what he's doing before he even knows what he's going to do. And that's the point they need to get to. And it takes time. It takes being in the games and going through the battles to be able to know what everyone is thinking and be able to get there. So,
all right, we've got a caller on the line, Shane Smith. We'll see what he wants to talk about here. Shane, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, perfect.
Hey, hi, Eric. Hi, Eric. Hi, Chef.
Hey, what's going on?
All right, so Shane, you said you wanted to talk about quarterback. Was that what I read in the chat?
Okay.
Go for it.
Yes, sir. I don't understand. Okay, everybody's giving Hendon Hooker, like, he went to like some little college, like small reads, like those one look. They're giving him so much crap, like they gave Jared Goff. Look at Jared Goff. They said the same stuff about him when he came up. Like he, a one read. Look at him for us now. He's like our savior. I don't understand. What do you guys see about that? I can't read all the stuff you guys read, but down here I read some stuff that people are still like hating on both of them, and I don't understand why.
I think that if I understand what you're trying to say here, Hendon Hooker comes to the Lions. People are, dogging on him a little bit, and you don't feel it's warranted. And then he's getting kind of the same treatment that Jared Goff was getting treated, or the same treatment that Jared Goff was getting when Jared Goff first came to the Detroit Lions. Is that am I understanding it correctly?
Yeah, and when he first came out of the draft too, because everybody was all like he's a one like that Caleb guy. He only sees like one receiver.
He's a one read guy and can't get through his progressions.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, so here's my answer, and then I'll kick it over to Chef and Eric. So my answer is this. Jared Goff didn't get any respect because Sean McVay trashed him. He trashed his everything that Jared Goff did for the Rams, McVay threw it under the bus, and that's why everyone was saying Jared Goff was a bridge quarterback. Jared has done everything on and off the field to now prove to everybody that he was the right pick. Now, he's been given amazing contract. Now you're seeing guys that haven't done anything get similar or better contracts, which doesn't make any sense. So I'm hoping that the same thing that's being said about Jared, could or should be said about these other guys that haven't done anything in the league that are about to be way overpaid is what it is. Jared's proven himself. He's a top 5 quarterback in this league. I don't care what anybody says. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong through the stats. You can't. When it comes to Hendon Hooker, look, the jury's still out on Hendon, and that's because
he hasn't played yet.
Yeah, he hasn't played.
I understand.
He's now entering his second season, full season without an ACL to repair. And to be honest with you, go ahead.
I heard it like at first in training camp, he was like overthrowing guys, and like I heard like then he calmed down, and now he's like blasting cannons and kicking, stomping butt. I'm trying not to swear.
No, you're good. So here's the thing. Like, don't get too high. Don't get too low on Hendon Hooker right now. Just, you're going to have days that are bad. You're going to have days that are good. Just like any other rookie, like any other rookie that comes in or second or third year player, we have to give Hendon 3 seasons. Now, I've seen this other.
Everybody says.
I've seen the other talk.
Like he's old. He's not old. Quarterbacks can play until they're like 40.
Yeah, he's old by rookie standards. Old,
but he's not an old quarterback. He's young.
Yeah, he can play, well into his 30s, and the goal is to get him through 2 contracts in the NFL, not 4. At the end of the day, where I was going to go with this is, Hendon needs 3 years to develop. I've seen this other stuff where they're saying that Hendon could be traded before they even get out of training camp. Like, people need to stop printing that garbage and spreading those rumors. The Lions are not going to trade away the future of their team should Jared Goff go down.
I agree with you.
Yeah, Hendon needs time, but here's the thing. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. He's going to have bad games. He's going to have bad days. He's got to learn like everybody else. That's why Jared Goff's our quarterback. Chef, what do you want to say to that?
Well, I think the narrative is changing. I mean, PFF now has Jared Goff as their number 9 quarterback. Earlier in the offseason, he was like number 16, or I think he was number 9 in the NFC. So it's like, what has he done since then? It's just a narrative that's being pushed, and as I say, it's this silly season. Remember what was her name? I think it was Marissa Myers or something like that, that said that Justin Fields was the quarterback of the future for the Detroit Lions. He's gonna play. He's gonna play a season, or not even play. He's gonna sit behind Russell Wilson, and then in free agency, he's gonna come to the Lions, and the Lions are going to remove Jared Goff from the organization and turn over the keys to the club to Justin Fields. It's just things that people write so that we can talk about them. Hendon Hooker is a rookie who he hasn't played in the NFL. And this is why I'm never too high or too low on a rookie unless his talent is undeniable or his talent is invisible. Fakuda. So if you have a rookie, you just have to give him a shot,
So,
and that's
so
what I have
Hendon,
to say
Hendon,
about it.
yeah, Hendon's really a second year rookie. Shane, what was your response to
Yeah.
that?
I still think he's like, if he didn't have that injury, I still think he'd be like a late first round, early second round pick.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, I had him as a top 5, but
he's got intangibles that I like.
Mhm.
That dude's got a cannon.
Well, he definitely has a
He may not
cannon.
have like the arm angles. He may not have like the quite arm angles Stafford has, but he can throw as far as Stafford does.
Yeah,
Maybe farther.
he has some wheels too. He can actually move, and now that he's healthy, we'll be able to see, different looks throughout camp where Hendon's going to be utilized to be that mobile quarterback. Eric, what's your response to Hendon Hooker not getting any love? Still needs time to develop. Kind of the same situation for Jared Goff, where Jared Goff was kind of getting thrown under the bus by everybody for the last 3 seasons, still getting thrown under the bus. But Hendon's just not getting any respect at all. What do you got to say?
So what has Brad Holmes been saying the last couple of years? It's a lot easier to get worse at quarterback than it is to get better. And listen, when is the last time you can say that the Detroit Lions have not only one, not only two, but possibly 3 decent quarterbacks that could all start and win a game? When we had who was it? Sean, what was his last name? It's been forever. Stafford had one good quarterback behind him, and that was about it. It was always
Sean King.
yeah. And it's been forever. I don't think we've ever had this good of a QB situation ever in Detroit, ever. So I want the Lions to keep Hooker, not trade him. I don't care what anybody's throwing at us. Listen, this kid, we took him because he was injured and he had all this potential. He definitely would have went top 5 had he not gotten injured. This kid was on pace to win the Heisman and do all sorts of incredible stuff at Tennessee. And listen, there's something special. He has the it factor, like I said earlier. And you watch, it might take a little bit of time, but the it factor is going to show itself, and we're going to have 2 quarterbacks on the Detroit Lions with the it factor.
Bona fide starters.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. That's all I want to talk about, guys. I was just because I said I'm down here in Texas now. I can't see everything. That's why I was like, I don't want the tickets. I can't get up there.
Ah.
Hey,
I read as much stuff as I can, and I watch as much stuff as I can. I'm addicted to the Lions.
Yeah, you're down in Texas. Me and Will are planning a trip in November. We should all get together.
Yeah. So I
I
just
live way south by Mexico. Like I live like 5-6
Oh,
hours
wow.
away from. I'm far away. I'm like where hurricanes come.
hey,
I'm the one that
that's
deals with all the hurricanes.
that's nothing,
Okay.
man. So how far away are you from Houston?
Like I think 5 hours.
Yeah. So
Oh,
are you
man.
going to try to go to the Houston game, the Houston Lions game?
Yes.
All right. So
Yeah.
that's the one that I think that I'm planning right now is the
Yep.
Houston Texans game. All right. So Shane,
Yeah,
thanks.
I don't like Dallas. I'll let you go. I don't like Dallas. I like Houston.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
You guys have a great day.
You too, Shane. Take care, buddy.
And just remember, Shane, I drive 6 hours to go to every Lions game, or I fly down. So
Man,
if I can do it, you can do it, man.
I drove 12 hours yesterday just to get
Oh.
back and forth, man. It's
Yeah.
craziness. Is what it is, man. There's no distance I wouldn't travel. So we got 4 minutes till the end of the show here, at least for the full 2 hours. I think we've covered just about everything. You know, the other observations that the Tim 20-minute noted was the big leg from Jake Bates. The Nate Sudfeld was taking second team reps at quarterback on Thursday after Hendon Hooker took them on Wednesday. It appears the Lions are going to rotate those reps and give both players a fair shot to win the backup job. I find that interesting. I think that Tim is probably splitting the baby here. You know, he's given equal opportunity to these guys. I don't think it's equal opportunity. I think it's Hooker's job to lose. I think the Lions would be smart to just say, hey, look, Nate, let's make you, coach. Because that way you don't have to lose him. You could always put him back on the team later. He can always come back and be re-signed as a quarterback. I don't know the rules that surround that. Like, why couldn't you just make every guy that you want to keep a coach?
I think once you're a coach, you can't come back as a
Sure you
player.
can.
Well, Denver tried it. Remember when they lost all their quarterbacks? They were going to have their quarterback coach suit up and be the quarterback that week, and the NFL told them no.
I think you need more time though. Because who was it? Was it Brian Greasy?
I can't remember, but they had
Yeah.
nobody left, and nobody knew their system, so they tried to get their quarterbacks coach as their emergency backup, and they wouldn't let them.
Yeah, so you can come back. I think the rule is you have to wait a full year.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
short
okay.
notice.
Yeah. So like you could have him be a coach this season, and then when the season's done, you go back to the talent pool and you re-sign him to a futures contract, and then they should be good to go. There's got to be a way to get around it, but you know what? It's all the more reason why the NFL needs to expand the roster size and allow more protection. I think that it would be very smart for the NFL to look at this from the perspective of, look, you hire these guys, you draft these guys. Why let them go to another team? If they want to go to another team, they can go to another team. But the team should have an opportunity to protect more players. And what I mean by protect is that they're not able to be plucked. And not, if they're traded, they're traded. If they want to go to another team and demand a trade, well, whatever. You cross that bridge when it happens. But I think that the NFL needs to sincerely look at this from the standpoint of teams invest a lot of time, money, energy, and development into these players for a large majority of them to just kind of float around the NFL. And I don't think that that's good for the player. I don't think it's good for the team. I think that it would make much more sense to expand the roster to have guys that you just kind of stash away, on an expanded practice squad, especially if they're going to start flirting with 18 games, 18 regular season games. There needs to be a bigger roster, in my opinion. All right, 30 seconds to Chef and then to Eric. Final thoughts on the day. Training camp day 3 today. What is your 30-second takeaway? Go for it.
My 30-second takeaway is I just want to see how crisp those routes get from JMO. It's all about JMO today. But no, seriously, I just want to see Terrion get some of the the lumps out. I know he did get beat by Doris Fountain on a deep ball, but again, I don't know what the coverage was. I don't know what the situation was, but just having him solidify himself, in his coverage, in his deep ball coverage, I think is what I'm looking forward to more so than anything else.
Eric, 30 seconds, man. What's your takeaway from the first 2 days, and what do you want to see today?
I just want to tell Lions fans to relax. Don't worry about the kicking situation. Jake Bates has got us covered. I've seen this kid kick in person. He's got it. He's got the it factor. He's got a cannon for a leg. Don't worry. He's going to get that accuracy down. We're going to be just fine, even if Patterson comes back to the practice squad, whatever. Yeah, so that's my 30 seconds for today. And don't worry, Will. I'm going to speak to my people, and I'm going to have my people try to reach out to JMO's people, and we're going to get you guys on like this. We're going to find some common ground for you guys.
Yeah, I'm just going to reach out to JMO and see if he wants to come on the show.
Yeah, we're gonna try to patch things up between you guys. We're gonna get you unblocked, and everything's gonna be okay.
I mean, I'm really not that worried about it. I'm not great on Twitter anyway. So
he hasn't come on Amon-Ra St. Brown's podcast.
He doesn't like to talk to anybody.
No.
He hates talking to people. So
yeah.
Here's my 30 seconds. Look, it's not that I don't have for JMO. It's just that I want to see more, right? I want to see it actually happen. And until then, it is what it is. Famous words of Aaron Rodgers, relax. Okay, I'll relax on JMO. But I want to see it. And the reason why I want to see it is because we need it. We need that second wide receiver to really step up. Don't let DPJ catch you. DPJ has been the guy that I've been saying for a long time that can do it. Don't let Antoine Green catch you. Antoine Green has phenomenal speed. Now, he's not got JMO speed, but he also has great hands. The Lions are in a good position. They're very deep at positions of need right now. And we've clearly seen that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes are always looking to get better, right? The ABCs, always be getting better at things. So Day 3 is upon us. We'll be having some videos popping out later today to kind of recap certain situations that have gone on between day 1 and 3. There'll be a video coming out for Lions tickets. Again, those of you that are emailing me today for Lions training camp tickets, thank you. I've got about 60 more to give away, and we've got to get them given away in the next 24 hours. So look out for the videos. Follow the instructions. Once they're gone, they're gone. You guys have a wonderful day. As always, go on Pride, go Detroit Lions. We'll see you next week, Monday. Remember that the schedule for next week is going to be kind of funny because I'm going to the Hall of Fame. So it'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we'll probably be off Thursday and Friday and doing pop-ups. Off the Cuff will be back on Monday night, and then it'll probably be on Thursday night from the Hall of Fame. So you guys take care. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye now.
Adam Schefter at ESPN says there's 275,000 people.
Well, that was some party in downtown Detroit. 775,000 people shattering the NFL draft attendance record.
Five letters here. Just for everybody out there in Packerland and yourself. R-E-L.
This is the future. We're gonna be okay.
Oh, great.
Evolution. This is the future.